So now I give you this challenge. It is not a task, it is a return. Go to a quiet room, sit, close your eyes. Do not think, remember. Remember what you wanted before the world taught you to fear wanting. Was it to speak before crowds, to build towers, to write, to lead, to create, to heal, to move mountains with your words or hands? Let it rise again. Let the picture take shape. Now write it, with detail, with emotion, with clarity. Do not edit. Do not apologize. Let the boy speak through the man, and when you have written it, fold the paper. Place it on your desk, your mirror, your wall, and every day, every single day, read it aloud, with voice, with emotion, with belief. This is not for nostalgia. This is warfare, a war against the version of you that fear has manufactured. Because hear this, the boy who dreamed is the man who is now equipped to build it, but only if you remember him, only if you honor him. Now repeat these words and do not say them softly. Say them as if your younger self is listening and waiting. I remember who I was before I was taught to fear. I honor the boy who dreamed. I do not apologize for greatness. I pursue it. My childhood vision was a prophecy, not a fantasy. I am not too late. I am exactly on time. Speak those words until they no longer feel like affirmations, but identity. Until your voice no longer shakes, until your vision no longer waits. Because the man who honors the dream of his youth is not chasing fantasy. He is answering a summons. And now the summons has arrived. There comes a moment in the life of every man when his talent, his worthiness, and even his intellect are no longer enough. Not because they are insufficient, but because they are idle. The world does not reward the most gifted. It rewards the most decided. The man who decides with finality, who moves without explanation, who acts while others hesitate, that man is obeyed by circumstances that bend to his will. All others become footnotes, talkers, thinkers, planners, eternally circling the moment of action, but never piercing it. You may be brilliant, you may be filled with potential, but if you have not made the decision, then you are still at the mercy of fear. And fear, like a parasite, will feed on your hesitation. It will convince you to gather more information, wait for more approval, gather more confidence, as if decision were something earned rather than chosen. Let this be known. Indecision is not wisdom. It is betrayal. It is the betrayal of self by self disguised as caution. Look to Charles M. Schwab, the man who rose not because he was the most intellectual strategist, but because he moved with certainty. Under Carnegie, Schwab did not sit and study endlessly. He decided. He spoke with clarity. He walked with the energy of a man already confirmed by destiny. And destiny responded. His decisiveness gave him command over men with far greater experience. And why? Because the undecided are always ruled by the decided. That is the law. It is unbending, and it rewards only those who have claimed power with conviction. Fear always asks for more proof, more signs, more guarantees. But life does not give its greatest treasures to the man who waits. It gives them to the man who moves. The man who says, "This is who I am and this is what I will do," and lets the world adjust. That man is dangerous, not because he knows everything, but because he knows enough to decide. Your current hesitation is not due to lack of opportunity. It is due to lack of finality. You are still leaving the door open to your past identity, your past beliefs, your past excuses. You think you need to see more clearly before you act, but clarity is the reward of commitment, not its precondition. You do not get to see the full staircase before taking the first step. The world does not reveal the entire plan to the undecided. It reveals the next step to the committed. Think of every great man history has honored: Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Rockefeller. None of them began with all the answers. They began with a decision that this would be their path, come what may. And the universe, the marketplace, the mind itself, all reorganized around that single point of conviction. It was not intellect, it was decision that moved mountains. So what are you waiting for? Whose permission are you secretly seeking? What approval do you believe will finally make you worthy to act? Let this truth thunder through your soul. You are not waiting for proof. You are delaying your power. And every day you wait, the man you were meant to become grows quieter inside you. The world is not against you, it is waiting on you, waiting for the signal that you are ready to stop dabbling and start dominating. And that signal is decision, not talk, not notes, not goals. A decision that says, this is who I am now, there is no going back, there is no second path, there is no safety net, I move forward, I do not retreat. Speak these words until your own subconscious has no choice but to obey. I am the type of man who decides with finality. I do not wait for certainty, I create it. My decision builds momentum. My decision attracts power. My decision commands the world. I no longer ask for permission. I move and the world moves around me. I do not explain, I execute. Let these be more than affirmations. Let them be a sword, a weapon against the inner voice that says, not yet, not sure, not enough. That voice is not you. It is fear, and fear has spoken long enough. Now you speak. Now you move. Because the world is not asking you to be perfect. It is only asking you to decide. There is a law more potent than most men will ever realize. A law that governs whether you rise in clarity or drown in confusion. Whether your name becomes a banner of greatness or fades into the background hum of mediocrity. That law is bold repetition. The mind, like a field, grows whatever seed is planted, and the seed that is planted most frequently takes the strongest root. You may believe in ambition, you may dabble in discipline, but until your dominant repetition is directed on purpose, your results will remain accidents, not intentions. The subconscious mind is not swayed by logic. It is not moved by single moments of motivation. It does not respond to inspiration that flashes and fades like lightning in the night. It obeys only that which is repeated with feeling. And if you do not take command of that repetition, fear will do it for you. Understand this. The average man already has a repetition practice. He repeats worry, he repeats doubt. He repeats weakness, excuses, and imaginary limitations every single day. The only difference between the successful and the stagnant is what they rehearse. The man who repeats strength becomes strong. The man who repeats helplessness becomes a servant to circumstances. The subconscious makes no moral judgment. It does not discern between greatness and mediocrity. It merely obeys. And it obeys the voice it hears most often, especially when that voice is charged with emotion. Elbert Hubbard understood this law well. He did not surround himself with motivational slogans or aimless encouragement. He repeated creeds, declarations of intent, codes of self-command, statements of identity that pierce through doubt like a sword. He knew that to live deliberately, a man must speak to himself with the authority of one who has already arrived. There was no room for timid phrases, no tolerance for vague wishes. Hubbard spoke boldly because he understood that the subconscious mind respects power, not politeness. Let me speak plainly. If you are not repeating who you are becoming, you are reinforcing who you were. And who you were is not equipped to carry what you say you want. The future you are chasing cannot be built by a mind still ruled by yesterday's doubts. The answer, then, is repetition. But not just any repetition, bold repetition, the kind that charges your voice with certainty. The kind that shakes the silence in the morning and silences the noise at night. Every morning before the world speaks to you, you must speak to yourself. Before a single opinion enters your ears, you must install your own. You must rise and declare your intentions. Not once, not occasionally, but daily and with force. You must stand before the mirror and remind your subconscious that there is only one voice it must obey, yours. That there is only one identity it must build, yours. That there is only one destiny it must serve, the one you command. The ritual is sacred. Do not skip it. Do not whisper it. Do not rush it. This is your moment of authorship. This is where the mind is most open and most programmable. The subconscious does not resist the voice you charge with belief. It absorbs it like soil drinks rain. When you speak with clarity and emotion, the mind does not argue. It obeys. So give it no uncertainty to obey. Give it vision. In the evening before sleep, you must repeat again. For as the body rests, the subconscious works, and what you last tell it will be the instruction it follows in the night. Do not let the final words of your day be, "I'm tired," "I hope tomorrow is better," or "we'll see." These are the whispers of a man drifting. End your day as a man who decides. Speak boldly. Tomorrow belongs to me. I am the man who wakes in command. I do not sleep to escape, I sleep to program. You may feel foolish at first. Good. That is the sign you're breaking the spell. That is the sign you're no longer drifting. Most men have rehearsed weakness for so long that strength feels foreign. But keep going. For in time your voice will not sound strange. It will sound like home. And your mind will stop resisting. It will start building. Now take these declarations. Speak them not as suggestions, but as laws. Feel them in your chest. Let them move through your body with power. I am the type of man who walks with certainty, even when the path is unclear. I command my thoughts. They do not command me. I am the master of my morning and the author of my night. I speak life into my vision every single day. I am the type of man who rises before the world and decides who he will be. My voice trains my mind. My mind directs my world. I do not wait for belief. I speak until it obeys. My daily repetition builds a reality that no doubt can destroy. I am the type of man who does not flinch. I affirm with fire. There is no fear where my voice reigns. Repeat these in the morning before the world speaks to you. Repeat them in the evening before doubt tries to reclaim you. Repeat them when you are strong, and repeat them when you feel weak, especially when you feel weak. Because repetition in weakness is training. Repetition in comfort is maintenance. You are not here to maintain. You are here to rise. Let this law govern you now. Let repetition no longer be random but deliberate. Let the words you speak become bricks in the foundation of your future. Let your voice become the architect. Because the man who repeats with purpose becomes the man who walks in power. And no man walking in power ever begs the world to notice him. The world will notice, because the world has no choice but to respond to a man who speaks his identity into being, boldly, daily, and without apology. Fear is not always loud. It does not always scream or shake or knock at your door in the form of panic. No, the most dangerous form of fear, the kind that steals destinies and rewrites futures into regrets, comes dressed in the language of logic, and it says, "Be careful." It whispers, "Not now." It recommends, "Wait until everything is certain." And it nods, ever so calmly, when you retreat from the very thing your soul was commanded to do. This is not fear as you were taught to recognize it. This is fear disguised as caution, as balance, as prudence. It wears intellectual clothing. It speaks with the voice of reason. It sounds like friends. It mimics mentors. And worst of all, it often sounds like you. You call it thinking it through. You call it planning. But in truth, you are not thinking. You are rationalizing a delay that has lasted for years. Great men knew this enemy well. John D. Rockefeller, one of the most calculated visionaries to ever breathe, was warned by nearly every advisor he had not to invest as boldly as he did during financial downturns. They called him reckless. They said he lacked caution, yet years later, these same men would follow his moves, copy his patterns, and call them genius. Why? Because success proved him right, and fear had only disguised itself as wisdom in their mouths. Rockefeller had what few men possess, the ability to hear the mask behind the words. He knew when logic was truly logic, and when it was just fear in better clothes. Understand this: fear is a shapeshifter. It knows it cannot always frighten you into submission, so it pretends to be your counselor. It sits on your shoulder and says, "Be smart. Don't rush." It quotes statistics. It offers stories of others who failed. It reminds you that you have responsibilities. It plays the role of the careful planner, and in doing so, it delays action, just long enough for your fire to cool, your focus to fade, and your former habits to reclaim the throne. You must learn to spot this imposter. You must examine every thought that tells you to pause and ask it this question: